Book of Heaven. Volume 9. 1st to the 7th of October 1909. Page 11 to 17. October 1, 1909. Jesus counts, weighs and measures everything in the soul, so that nothing may be lost and she may be repaid for everything. Being very afflicted because of my poor state, I felt nauseating to myself, and abominable before God. I felt as if the Lord had left me halfway on the path, and without Him I feel I cannot go on any further. I feel He no longer wants to use me in order to spare the world the chastisements, and so He has moved crosses and thorns away from me. He has discontinued all my sharing in His passion, the communications. The only thing I see is that He is on the alert so that I remain at peace. My God, what pain! If you yourself did not keep me distracted from these losses, of crosses, of you, and of everything, I would die of grief. Ah! If it wasn't for your holy will, into what a sea of troubles I would have fallen. Oh! Keep me always in your holy will, this is enough for me. Now, as I was in my usual state, I was crying and saying to myself, Good Jesus has taken me into no account, nor the years of bed, nor the sacrifices, nothing, otherwise He would not have left me, and I cried and cried. At that moment, I felt Him move in my interior and I lost consciousness, but also outside of myself I kept crying. Then, as if a door had opened in my interior, I saw Jesus. I felt huffy and I did not say anything to Him, I just kept crying. Jesus told me, calm yourself, do not cry. If you cry, I feel my heart touched and I faint with love for you. Do you want to increase my pains because of your love? Then, assuming a majestic air, as though sitting on a throne within my heart, He seemed to hold a pen in His hand and to write, and turning to me, He said, See whether I do not take your things into account, not only the years of bed, the sacrifices, but even the thoughts you have for me. I am writing your affections, your desires, everything. Everything, even that which you would want to do or suffer, but you don't because I do not concede it to you. I count, weigh and measure everything, so that nothing may be lost and you may be repaid for everything. And as I write it, I keep it in my own heart. Then, I don't know how, I found myself in Jesus, while before I was in my interior. It seemed that the head of Jesus was in the place of my head, and all of my members served as His body, and He repeated, See how I keep you, like the members of my own body, and He disappeared. After a little while, as I continued to be afflicted, bursting into crying every so often, Jesus came back and told me, My daughter, courage, I have not left you. Rather, I am hidden, because if I let myself be seen as before, you would bind me everywhere, and I would not be able to chastise the world in anything. Nor have I left you halfway on the path. Don't you remember what these last years of your life are? These are the years wanted by your confessor. Don't you remember that, not once, but as many as 4 or 5 times you found yourself fighting with me? I wanted to take you with me, and you would tell me that obedience did not want it, and while I had prepared you in order to take you with me, I was forced to leave you again? Look now at the consequences you are bearing. These are years of pause and of patience. Charity and obedience have their own thorns, which open large wounds and make the heart bleed, but they make the most ruby red, fragrant and beautiful roses bloom. In fact, in seeing in your confessor the fruit of his good will, and charity, and fear that the world might be chastised, because of this I somehow concurred with him, but if I had not found anyone who would pray me and interpose himself, you would certainly not be here. But, come, courage, the exile will not be too long after all, and I promise you that the day will come when I will not let myself be won by anyone. Who can tell in what bitternesses I swim? Comforted, yes, but embittered down to the marrow of my bones. I cannot remember this without crying, so much so, that in telling it to the confessor, the heat of my tears was such that it seemed I would get upset with him, and I truly said to him, You have been the cause of my troubles. October 4, 1909. The thought of oneself must be stopped in order to do what Jesus does. Continuing in my state of affliction and loss of my blessed Jesus, I was all occupied in my interior, according to my usual way, with the hours of the Passion. The hour I am talking about is that in which Jesus loaded the heavy wood of the cross upon himself. The whole world was present to me, past, present, and future. My whole imagination seemed to see all the sins of all generations, which pressed and almost crushed benign Jesus. So much so, that the cross was nothing but a twig of straw, a shadow of weight compared to all sins. And I tried to draw near Jesus, saying, "See, my life, my good, I will stay here in the place of all of them." Do you see how many waves of blasphemies? I am here to repeat that I bless you for all. How many waves of bitternesses, of hatreds, of scorns, of ingratitudes, of so very little love. And I want to soothe you for all, love you for all, thank you, adore you, honor you for all. But my reparations are cold, meager, finite. You, who are the one who is offended, are infinite, therefore I want to render infinite also my reparations and my love, and in order to make it infinite, immense, endless, I unite myself with you, with your own divinity. Even more, with the Father and with the Holy Spirit, and I bless you with your own blessings, I love you with your love, I soothe you with your own sweetnesses, I honor you, I adore you, as you do among yourselves, divine persons. But who can tell all the nonsense I was saying? I would never end if I wanted to say everything. When I find myself in the hours of the Passion, I feel that, together with Jesus, I too embrace the immensity of his work, and for all, and for each one I glorify God, I repair, I impetrate for all, and therefore I find it difficult to say everything. So, while I was doing this, a thought told me, "You are thinking about the sins of others, and what about your own? Think about yourself, repair for yourself." So I tried to think about my evils, my great miseries, the privations of Jesus caused by my sins, and getting distracted from the usual things of my interior, I cried over my great misfortune. At that moment, my always lovable Jesus moved in my interior, and with sensible voice told me, "Do you want to arbitrate yourself? The work of your interior is not yours, but mine. You do nothing but follow me, the rest I do all by myself. The thought of yourself you must stop. You must do nothing but what I want, and I will take care of your evils and goods. Who can do more good to you, yourself or I?" And he showed himself displeased. So I began to follow him, but after a little while, as I reached another point of the way to Calvary, at which, more than anywhere else, I would penetrate into the different intentions of Jesus, a thought told me, "Not only must you stop the thought of sanctifying yourself, but also that of being saved. Don't you see that by yourself you are good at nothing? What good can ever come to you by doing this for others?" Turning to Jesus, I said to him, "My Jesus, are your blood, your pains, your cross not there for me? I have been so bad, that having trampled them under my feet with my sins, maybe you have exhausted them for me. But, oh please, forgive me, and if you do not want to forgive me, leave me your will and I will be content. Your will is everything for me. I have remained alone without you, and you alone can know the loss I suffered. I have no one. Creatures without you bore me. I feel I am in this prison of my body like a slave in chains. At least, for pity's sake, do not take your holy will away from me." So, while thinking of this, I got distracted again from my interior, and Jesus, again, made me hear his voice, louder and more imposing, saying, "You don't want to stop it? Do you want to waste my work in you?" I don't know. As if he had silenced my mind, I tried to follow him and to stop it. October 6, 1909. The virtues of true love are, to purify everything, to triumph over everything, to reach everything. After I received communion, my always lovable Jesus came for a little while, and since I had had a discussion with the confessor on the nature of true love, I wanted to ask Jesus whether I was right or wrong, and he said to me, "My daughter, it is exactly like that, as you were saying, that true love facilitates everything, excludes any fear, any doubt, and all of its art is in taking possession of the beloved, and when it has made her its own, love itself provides her with the means in order to preserve the object acquired. Now, what fear, what doubt can a soul have about something that belongs to her? What can she not hope for? Even more, when she has come to take possession of it, love becomes daring and reaches the point of taking excesses up to the incredible. True love can say, "There is no longer yours and mine, I am yours, and you are mine. So, we can dispose of each other, delight in each other, enjoy each other. If I have acquired you, I want to use you as I please." How can the soul, in this state of true love, go fishing for defects, miseries, weaknesses, if the object acquired has condoned her everything, embellishes her with everything, and the object that she possesses keeps purifying her continuously? These are the virtues of true love: to purify everything, to triumph over everything, to reach everything. In fact, what love can there be for a person whom one fears, about whom one doubts, from whom one does not hope for everything? Love would lose the best of its qualities. It is true that even in the saints one can see this, and this shows that in the saints love can be imperfect and can have its variety, according to the state in which they find themselves. In you the thing is very different, since you should be in heaven with me, and you have sacrificed this for love of obedience and of your neighbor. Love has been confirmed in you, the will has been confirmed in not offending me. Therefore your life is like a life that has already passed, and this is why you do not feel the burden of your miseries. So, be well attentive on what befits you, and on loving me up to the infinite love. October 7, 1909. Caution and jealousy of Jesus and surrounding with thorns both soul and body of creatures. As I was in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little and told me, "My daughter, my jealousy and the caution I have for my creatures is such and so great, that in order not to let them be ruined, I am forced to surround them with thorns, both soul and body, so that the thorns may keep away from them the mud that could dirty them. This is why, my daughter, I surround with thorns, that is, with bitternesses, with privations, with different interior states, also my greatest favors with which I favor the souls who are dear to me, so that these thorns may not only keep them, but prevent their getting dirty with the mud of love of self, and the like." And he disappeared.